it's your girl Wendy Ray, and I'm back with another video to help you on your Christian journey. So I haven't been around much, and I apologize for that. Given that there were people who used to tell me that they used to follow up with my videos. So I think the last 3 videos that I made were about prayer and fasting. And unfortunately, we're still talking about prayer and fasting. I don't know why I love that topic so much, and I like it, just telling people about prayer and fasting. So there's a video that I began with this story where there was this young boy who was possessed, and then the disciples tried to pray for him, and there were 12 people praying for one boy, and nothing happened. And then they brought him to Jesus, and Jesus explained it all, and then he ended by saying, but this kind cannot come out but by prayer and fasting. That one line, I don't know, maybe it's probably the line that makes me want to talk about prayer and fasting so much, given that there are issues that I'm aware cannot move if you don't include fasting in your prayer life. Not like food strike or anything like that. Prayer and fasting, including fasting in your already existing prayer life. So anyway, today what I wanted to talk about is something that I learned. Honestly, I was going to talk about another topic in the next video, but someone taught me something really valuable, and it made a lot of sense, and I thought, well, that's one way to accurately fast, and I have to share it. So like I said in the previous videos, okay, regarding the story that I was giving right now, it goes to show that there are things that cannot move in your life. You have these really stubborn situations that don't move. You have to include fasting. You do pray, yeah, okay, but then there are things that you have to sacrifice food for, or sacrifice something that your flesh is that much addicted to. That's when it's going to be an actual sacrifice. And then we looked at the types of fasting for people who are not used to it, for beginners, for the ones who are already used to it, for people who have issues stomach issues, or if you're on medication and you still want to fast, things like a fasting like Daniel's fast. That's perfect for someone who has stomach issues. My boyfriend does that because he has stomach issues. This is where you go for 10 to 21 days with only vegetables, no meat, nothing sweet, no dairy, just vegetables for 21 days, 10 to 21 days. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about that. You can check my previous videos to know the type of fasting that you can do and which one fits you best, okay? So while you're fasting, it's just it will be a short video because it's one tip. So while you're fasting, let's say for example I'm doing 6 to 6. I'm used to that one, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. That means I'll have to skip breakfast and I'll have to skip lunch, but I'll eat supper because it's from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So I will skip breakfast and I'll skip lunch. So if I decide today I'm fasting and I'm doing 6 to 6, when I should be eating, if I'm fasting, that's when I should be praying. I don't know if that makes sense. So for example, 6 to 6, at the time when I should be having breakfast, that's when I should go down and pray. And then the next time I should pray, it's during lunchtime, because that's when I should be eating, having my lunch, you get. But instead of having my lunch, I'm supposed to be praying. If I'm doing 3 days no solid food, that means the whole day for 3 days, the whole day I'm not going to be eating anything, no solid food, just maybe drinks, or let's say the Esther fast, no solid food and no water, no food, no water. So regarding Esther fast, in a day you should probably pray 3 times. It's all up to you. For example, if you're busy, it's okay. If you get time to only pray once, it's okay. But the reason I'm saying this is because if you want to eat, you would definitely have your breakfast, you would definitely have time to have lunch, you would definitely have time to have supper, you get. But right now you're deciding to not eat those meals. So at that time when you should be eating your meals, that's when you should be praying. For those who say like, I could pray and fast, but I don't really have time, especially at work. But when you're at work, when it's lunchtime, you go out and have lunch with your co-workers, that's when you should be praying. For those who say like, I don't have the time, but you always find time to feed your flesh, right? I mean, it makes sense, because look at it this way. If you're not fasting normally, like if you're eating, for those who have like 3 meals a day and who can, not everyone is privileged to. If you're eating, you will eat 3 times a day. You have to feed your flesh 3 times a day. Or even more, like when you're craving something, or there's like a snack in between. Anyway, the major meals, breakfast, lunch, and supper or dinner, you have to feed your flesh like 3 times a day normally. That's what is recommended. And when you decide to feed your spirit, because when you're fasting, it's when you're pausing on feeding your flesh and you decide to feed your spirit man. So when you decide to fast, now you're feeding your spirit man. There's no way you'll feed your flesh 3 times a day, and when it comes to your spirit man, you only feed it like once a day. Like you just look for like 20 minutes, which is okay for a beginner. Like it's not something that you must do. I'm just like saying, someone taught me this and I thought it made a lot of sense. And when I did my previous fast, I did this, and let me tell you, it also helped me like commune with God longer. I loved just being in his presence more, and the next day I just couldn't wait to go back to his presence, because I was doing 3 days. It was Esther fast. So the first day I had to pray like breakfast time, when I'm supposed to be having my breakfast, because I always have the 3 meals, right? If I can feed my flesh 3 times a day, I can definitely feed my spirit man 3 times a day too. I can spend time with God 3 times a day. Like it's not like you're supposed to time him per se, but like you get like at that time where you set aside time to like communicate with God. And like I said, when you're fasting, always pray, always worship, always include Bible study, because otherwise if you don't do all of that, that's just food strike. Okay, worship, read the Bible study or something like that, because otherwise just reading it like a novel, you do need like a deeper understanding and revelation to come to you from the Holy Spirit. So, and also pray, obviously, otherwise it's just food strike like I said before. So it spoke to me this way: if I can feed my flesh 3 times a day, I can definitely feed my spirit man 3 times a day too. And mind you, when I'm eating lunch, I usually lunch or supper or breakfast, I usually eat when I'm watching a movie. That's 1 hour, 2 hours long, and that's basically my whole lunch period. For anyone who goes to work, for example, you probably have only 30 minutes. 30 minutes in the presence of God is a lot. Especially 3 times a day. In the morning, you spend 30 minutes in prayer and in worship. Lunchtime, you spend time in prayer for 30 minutes. Supper time, you spend time in prayer again for 30 minutes. Bro, I can't even begin to tell you how much that is going to advantage you. Your spirit man will get used to that. Even your flesh will get used to it. Do you see how flesh fights these spiritual things when you're about to pray? It's thinking about other things. The flesh, it's not familiar with spiritual things, so it will always fight anything spiritual. When you're worshiping, you have to fight your thoughts. Suddenly it's tired, my legs are paining, I have to sit down, things like that. Anyway, so it made a lot of sense to understand it from that point of view. Like if you can afford to feed your flesh 3 times a day, you can definitely afford to feed your spirit man 3 times a day too. It just goes to show how much you're willing to put to your spiritual growth. If you're willing to put the same for your flesh to grow, to feel stronger, because you do need the food. Obviously, you need the food to fuel you, obviously. So it's the same way the spirit man needs to be fueled that much. So anyway, you try that tip, and if you do try it, get back to me on the comment section and tell me how it worked out for you. But trust me, it's going to do wonders for you. You will notice you're even loving spending time with him for long. Sometimes on the last day, because I had to pray for 30 minutes to what I prayed for Okay, let me just give an example. If breakfast time is supposed to pray for 30 minutes to 1 hour, let's say, if you do pray at that time, for example, oh my gosh, excuse me, I prayed breakfast time, and then, but like I was praying at around 10, almost 11, and lunchtime, I usually have it at 12 or even 1. So I had to join both in prayer, and you will find yourself spending hours and hours and hours in the presence of the Lord, and then you just look at the time and you're like, yo, was that me? Was that me? Because mind you, if someone told me spend 20 minutes in prayer, be like, saying what? Doing what exactly? Also, that's where the tongues come in through, they'll help in times of that when you don't even know what to say. But before, even with the tongues, I would just pray and pray and pray in tongues, and then my mind is just not active, and it starts to feel a bit repetitive, a bit boring. Because I'm not praying in the spirit, obviously, I get that, but it would train your spirit, man. The time that you're giving to it will train your spirit, man. The more you do it, the more you get used to it. You'll find yourself praying for hours and hours and hours, and you'll be like, yo. But anyway, all in all, I just wanted you to try that tip. Just wanted you to give the same treatment you give your flesh. You give it to your spirit, man. The good things, obviously. If you feed your flesh this much, feed your spirit, man, that much too. He is starved. Just imagine the last time you actually spent or communed with God, seriously, in the spirit, prayed, worship, did Bible study, or you just wait for Sundays only. Imagine that, and then imagine just how much you're starved, how starved your spirit man is, how starved your spirit man is. Just imagine that. Imagine if warfare comes, just hit you. Someone who's starved it. Excuse me. You can see, the flesh, you can tell. And if the wind comes, blows you over, same goes for your spirit, man. Okay? Just imagine how starved he is right now. If warfare comes, how will you be able to handle it? Aside from warfare, it's going to be a beautiful experience for you, because any time you spend with God, it is a beautiful, beautiful experience. A very beautiful one. It's time to literally just get to know your father. Just imagine sitting down with your father and just talking about stories, and you're just asking for these things, give me that, give me this, and you're just adoring him, and he's just looking at you lovingly, oh my child, and you're having a literal conversation 3 times a day, or whatever the amount of time you decide to put into it. Okay, it was just a tip I decided to share, and it is very beneficial. Just find a equal measure, make them equal. They're not definitely equal, but if you feed your flesh this much, feed your spirit that much too. I think I've repeated that so much. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, thank you so much, and I will be back and try to be consistent. So yeah, thank you. Bye bye. Love you all. And God bless you. More grace when you decide to fast. More grace when you decide to venture in this spiritual journey. More grace to you. Always include the Holy Spirit. Bye bye. He is your friend, he is your helper. Bye bye.